is where we're at. 2 Corinthians 1, the Bible says, Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ by the will of God, and Timothy our brother, to the church of God, which is at Corinth, with all the saints who are in all Arcadia. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and Lord Jesus Christ. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, Father of mercy and the God of comfort.
Who comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also abounds through Christ. Now if we are afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effective for during the same sufferings which we also suffer. Or if we are comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. And our hope for you is steadfast, because we know that as you are partakers of the sufferings, so also you will partake of the consolation.
For we do not want you to be unaware, brothers and sisters, regarding the afflictions that happened to us in the province of Asia, that we were burdened excessively beyond our strength, so that we despaired even of the living. Indeed, we felt as if the sentence of death had been passed against us, so that we would not trust in ourselves, but in God who raised the dead.
10.
Who delivered us from so great a death, and thus delivered us, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. He also held me together by prayer for us, that for the gift bestowed upon us by the means of many persons, thanks may be given by many on our behalf.
Guys, this is where we're going to go, and then we'll continue, and then eventually I have handouts that will take us farther into this. But remember, we stopped at really at 4, or we stopped at 3. But 4 says what?
Who comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God.
So guys, then we would have to pull a word that has been said more than once, and it's called comfort, right? See that?
Yep.
And so, so then I've put it down, if you have your documents from last week, I've got the word comfort, paraklesia, means to be by the side of another, to relieve and support, to give solace, consolation, and encouragement. There is always an underlining meaning to the word. There is the idea of strength, an enablement, a confidence. So then we would see then when he speaks of comfort, he speaks of, in your mind, what would comfort mean to you in your mind, based upon some of the words I've given. Based on some of the words I've given, what's the comfort for you?
Support for me.
Support is for you. Anybody else?
Draw near.
Encouragement. Okay, that's comfort. Anything else?
Protection.
Burden. Okay. So we got encouragement. Anybody else?
Well, I get one.
Consult. That's okay. Yeah. Like I said, she said love. So then how about this word that it actually said? How about relieve? Somebody that relieves you. Someone that's, like somebody says support. Someone that supports you. So if that's the case, then if that's the case, then let's look at 4. 4 says what?
4 says, who comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God.
So guys, if you'd have your papers, I put down several thoughts on your paper, but I'm going to go down to the next paragraph. It says, what kind of suffering did Christ bear? Very simple. Christ bore every kind of suffering imaginable. Even the suffering of death. He had to experience every situation, conditions, and trials of a man in order to become the perfect sympathizer of our Savior. For this reason, he experienced the most humiliating experiences possible. He experienced, watch this guys, and I put this here. He experienced being born to an unwed mother. Come on. Y'all hear me?
Amen.
You gotta hear me.
Amen.
You say, okay, do you really understand the thought of an unwed mother? It's become acceptable now. You see what I'm saying? It's become acceptable.
Only in certain cultures.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true.
It is, in our society, it's a part of the norm.
That's right. So you can't remove it. And that's why I said we can't go with, we're going to say other cultures, but those other cultures aren't around. We're going to go with where we are. No, they are. I don't see none. I don't see not one. Anybody else?
Other cultures are here, but they blended into American culture, so it's the same.
Not everyone. Well, there's no argument.
There's no argument. But what we're talking about is, and I see what your statement, I see what Lenny's statement was, and I think we need to stop. I think what our problem is with Westchester is we want to always not come home. We need to be home. We need to start to stay home and deal with home. Because you can't deal with or fix anything else until you fix home. It's true, until you fix home. So no offense to you either, Sister Cook. But,
you know I
yeah, but you're right. Lenny's right. It's home. It's where we're at home. Now, not only at home, but I'm talking about even in the church. You know, I'm looking at one right now. But stop and think about it. Unwed mothers. So today it's not considered. It's not considered a big thing anymore.
And unwed fathers.
We even changed the name, we call it a single parent.
Yeah, so soften it.
Soften it.
Yeah, and that's so we soften it. Doesn't make it right, but we soften things. And this is what someone asked me, you keep saying, the church has become a social society. This is what the church has become. And when you try to send out discipline, we talked about that last week. And when you try to bring upon discipline in the church, what do?
They leave.
Leave or get mad or go somewhere else. And so now you're saying, what solution do I give to keep people? There is no solution. You keep doing what's right. And I don't care if it thins out to 10 people. But you do what's right, because when this is all said and done, let me see if I can find this. Y'all can do this for just a second. I think we missed this. I think he mentioned this in Peter. So if we go over to Peter, I got to find out if it's 1st or 2nd Peter, but maybe that's it. Maybe that's where, let me go.
I'm going to start reading and you tell me if it's right.
Okay.
Huh?
Knowing this first, that there should
This is it, Shirley. This is it.
Scoffers,
Yeah.
walking after their own lusts,
Yes, that's it.
and saying, where is the promise of his coming?
That's it. Come on.
For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Mm-hmm.
But this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of water and in the water.
Keep going, Shirley.
Whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept restored. reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. 8 says, but behold, be not ignorant of one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
Come on.
The Lord is not slack concerning his
That's
promise,
what I want.
as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering toward to us, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance.
So this is where I'm at, and this is where I want you to see. This is what's going on with the world today. Guys, this is where I'm at, and I've mentioned unwed mothers. This is where I'm at. We don't get it. This suffering. Christ is saying, he went through them. I just gave you one, an unwed mother. But here's what's going on with the world today. And that is no wrong. When you do wrong, nothing happens. Yes. I'm going to show you. I'm explaining. Go ahead.
Could that be a part of women live?
Huh?
Did women, the liberation of women bring about change in this area? Because I remember no women. No, women liberation was very powerful. I remember as a kid, if a school teacher was pregnant and was not married, she lost her job.
It's your word. Oh, no, it was
If you had a
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I like what she said. That's why I said you're in more of this generation, so you don't see it.
Let me share
So-
something very personal.
Go ahead.
My sister, God rest herself, got pregnant in her senior year. She was at graduation. Do you think they let her finish?
no. Is that what happened in my
She had to go back and get her GED.
I'm trying to tell you, it's a tough. I keep saying, that's why I said,
I didn't know they lost that much.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, I know it was shamefaced, but I didn't know they lost that much.
it was serious, yes. That's why I said, just like
Senior year.
Just like you've heard me say for homosexuals, right? You heard me make that statement. Somebody walked into that locker room and was homosexual?
Everybody scattered.
No. Nobody's got it.
No.
He got what?
Beat down.
You probably ended up in the hospital.
Hello? I'm trying to tell you.
I agree with beating people that
But I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. You can't remove, and that's what I said, let's get out of the fantasy world and get into the now. And the now was, yeah, you get a beat down. So no, you ain't gonna run up in that dressing room and
they physically beat people down there.
Yeah, we did.
I'm telling you, you're not listening to me.
No,
I am telling you.
That was the basic
I
training.
said it was a beat down. I wasn't talking about folks over here. I was talking about Warren Thompson in the locker room. That ain't gonna happen. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm giving you something. You gave me something personal. I'm giving you something back personal. So that didn't go down. So that's why I said I took you to second where you found it, 2 Peter the 3rd chapter. What has taken place is the Bible says, but God is not slack. See what I'm saying? But what is taking place? We have allowed Satan to put us to sleep. Here's another great example, and you watch this. Florida just had a hurricane, 155 miles an hour. Houses just ripped to shreds. And you know what we say? I feel sorry for them people. And go on about our business. I'm serious, and we go on about our business. I feel sorry for those people, and we go on about it. Well, Brother Thompson, what should we be doing? If we had the concern like we should be doing, maybe we need to take up a collection. Maybe we need to make sure we can get down and see how we can help build those homes. If we had a concern. But Satan has lured you falling asleep. You've fallen asleep. I've fallen asleep. We've all fallen asleep. So whereas we just go on about our business, thank God it wasn't us. Now, if it was us and we have this horrific earthquake that they're talking about, then we want everybody to have pity on us. We want everybody. You hear me? Yes, we want everybody to come, help me, please help me. When you didn't do anything for them. See what I'm saying? We didn't. And so we've been lured. This is what God said. Peter had to write it because the people are saying in the persecution, what's going on? Where is God? Where is he? You know, hey, look, we're suffering. We've been chased away from our homes. We've been chased out of our businesses. We're suffering. So where are we? When Peter, you talk about this Jesus, you talk about this God. Where is he? Where is he when he needs you, when you need him? Stop and think about it. You know, I hear this, another one of these things. Oh, he's always there when you need him. As you just become homeless. As you looking in the trash can for food. But y'all don't hear me. What I'm saying is, you say, well, I don't understand. What are you talking about? What's going on with the world today is you can do wrong. Nothing happens. That's what's going on with the world today. You can do wrong and nothing happens. You go on about your business. And if something does, it's usually because something you didn't do. Lord have mercy, the lights went out. Probably because I didn't pay the bill. but you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? And so what I mean by that is this. It's you're dependent upon you. It ain't got nothing to do with God. What I should have did was went to work. You see what I'm saying? You hear me? If I had went to work, well, who woke you up this morning? You don't see that. All you see is I should have went to work, then my lights wouldn't get turned off. You see what I'm saying? Amen. So why? Because we've removed God. And you don't even realize it. We've removed him. And what have we allowed? We've allowed Satan to do his dirty work. And we can see Satan's work. We're searching for whose work? God's work. Stop and think about it. We see Satan's work. We just don't see God's work. And so what we see is a corrupt world just becoming more and more corrupt. Gas is now $3.80 something. Why should it be that? Because the world is corrupt. There's somebody that's a trillionaire that's making more money than he can ever spend, but he's not satisfied. He still wants to be the number one trillionaire. He wants to be, but you can't spend the money. That's not the point. The point is I want to make more and more. A man that makes $1 billion wants to make now $2 million. He wants to make $3 million. Why don't he help somebody else out? That's not on his mind. His mind is how much can I make? So what have we done? So even when your churches take their courses, so with the churches taking their courses, the churches become they have less emphasis on the world today. Because they're looking and they're saying, yeah, y'all get up early Sunday morning, run on down there, hear the man speak, come back, and guess what? Your light still didn't come on. Or you know what I'm saying? Guess what? Guess what? I've done wrong. I've partied all night. I'm drunk as a skunk. I go in and lay down in my bed. I get up. I go about my business. And life just goes on. Remember, he said he's long-suffering. Remember? But watch this. But in his long-suffering, it has lured us to sleep. Christians aren't being Christians anymore. We're saying, you need to accept the way I am, and if you don't accept the way I am, then I'll just move on and find me another church. I don't have to put up with you. I don't have to deal with you. This is what's going on with the churches today. Yes.
The word says don't bear false witness. For the past 30 years, we've been accepting hearsay as false witness. You can tell the truth people will change it into a lie. You can tell a lie and people will run with that lie and believe that lie for years. That's what has happened. Nobody wants the truth.
Well,
Everybody pretend about the truth, but when it comes to the truth, nobody wants to hit the ground of the truth.
I think people want the truth. I think people don't want the discipline behind the truth. You hear where I'm coming from? I don't want you to lie to me. Would you out with somebody else? I don't want you to lie to me. Tell me the truth. So I do want the truth, but I don't want to accept the consequences behind it, whether it's good or bad. You just found out that your spouse is messing around on you. But you wanted to know that. You really did want to know that your spouse is messing around on you. But you don't want the consequences. Now the consequences are, I have to make a decision. Does she stay or do I go? What do I have to do? The world has made the mindset of people weak, whereas you can't accept it. We mentioned I gave you some of the suffering. Christ came in an unwed mother. We're trying to put that with today's time, and you can't. If you put it back where it belongs, that is stoned to death. That's what I said. I'm trying to get you all to stay within the framework of the text. That woman was stoned to death. There wasn't nothing to talk about. She was stoned to death, and he was supposed to be also stoned to death. It's fornication. It's unacceptable. Your foreign countries to this day still stone to death people that decide to be promiscuous outside of a relationship. That's what you're talking about. And it is true. But everybody runs to America because we quote unquote are liberal. You mentioned woman's lib. You mentioned woman's lib came into existence. It came into existence, everybody was tossing the bras, right?
72.
Failing to understand, did you ever go back behind the scenes and find out who generated woman's lib? And you find out it was a lesbian?
Amen.
But you didn't even take the time. You just said, right on. Yes, let's roll with it. You see what I'm saying? And watch this. All Satan needed was just an ounce. He just needed a little for you to lean towards him. And now he can go what he wants, do what he wants to do. So now you've got what you call woman's lib, which, watch this, are you still fighting for it? You got a man in office right now because of somebody that's crooked. How do you give an FBI a week to find something on somebody?
He didn't need a day, because it was all obvious.
Right.
He could have did it in a day, but he signed at a time.
So why didn't he, and why did you still put him in office?
That's the question.
Right, and watch this. So what we have said is we have condoned to that kind of behavior.
Absolutely.
Now you watch. More and more of that behavior is going to take its course now.
Yes.
Because you said it was okay.
Yes.
Because what you're saying is Trump had an agenda. His agenda was, I've got to hurry up and get as much, the Republican Party, I've got to get them in the highest of office. The highest of office, so that when the Democrats come through here, when this vote is done by November, Trump is aware the demos are coming. He's aware the demos are coming, they're going to take office. It ain't just Democrats that will be voting them in. It also be Republicans that will be voting in Democrats. They've had enough of it. They see, you're right, this is totally wrong. Which don't make it right. What? Which don't make it right either. What do you mean? Because just because you're a Democrat doesn't remove you from being a human being. Doesn't remove you from being bad. So now you can have a house full of Democrats and you're still just as bad. It has to be a balance in order for this to work. But
God had already told us, we're living in the last days. You're seeing corruption. You're actually seeing it. It's in your own face now. You're actually seeing people do what they want to do. You're seeing it. And then, watch this, and then not wanting to accept the consolation. Not wanting to accept the consequences behind the errors that I produce. Jesus' Mary should have been stoned to death. I'm telling you the truth. Am I wrong? Mary should have been stoned to death. According to Leviticus, she should have been stoned to death. Got to see this. In today's time, it's okay to be an unwed mother. A single parent mother. It's okay to be, yes.
It sounds a little political, but our government supports it.
Yes.
Do well there.
Yeah, oh, there you, I agree with you, Larry. I agree with you 100%. I was looking at, I can't remember the name of the movie.
You don't get the point.
I can't remember the name of it, but I was watching it about a couple of weeks ago when I was really sick. So I had to stay home, but I was watching it. Bad something. But anyway, it was a true, based upon a true story where there was a reporter that decided to go into Colombia and talk to the, the top one that's, the cell that makes sure that they distribute everything.
Navigate.
The cartel, yeah, what is that? The cartel, right. Well, anyway, he actually went in. The gentleman felt he had nothing to lose. As a matter of fact, he was in the prison cells playing golf. Do you hear me? Playing golf. She's trying to show you how money does. So he's in there playing golf. But he said, sure, I don't have a problem with talking. So he went on and released everything. And with his release, he stated that what was going on, how this first came about, was the drugs were given to the Bloods and Crips. This is what he said. It was given into the Bloods and Crips. It started in California. It was given to the Bloods and Crips. And so they were out to make big bucks. But what they do, they threw it into you throw it out to the city, a city. And guess what? All it takes is 1 or 2 times and you're hooked. They got him. Money just running everywhere. Well, anyway, the gentleman, when he finally managed to bring this to the attention, then the CIA, the FBI, I forgot the other group, they went to his home. I'm not going to take it back. They called him in, called him to Washington, and had him in a room and sat down and basically told him, I think you need to stop your report. I think you need to just bring it to an end. The gentleman wouldn't listen. He goes farther and farther. Now the threat is on his family. Now they threaten his family. And now he's got to leave. The family's got to leave. Everybody's got to leave. And now he's running around and scared to death because you wouldn't back off. Corruption, when it's corruption, you watch this, and it's big. Who stops it? Who stops it?
Nobody.
So wait a minute, who stops it? Only God. So then here's my point. I just gave you 2 Peter in the 3rd chapter. And God is doing what right now? Long suffering. Stop and think about it. He's long suffering. So what are you saying? Well, God is allowing this. Well, who can stop it?
Only
God. So then, yes, this is allowed. Why? God has given, watches mankind a chance to turn their lives around. But he knows man ain't going to do that. I told you, one man makes $1 million. He's not satisfied with $1 million. He got it. He's greedy. He's going to, and this is his nature. Because this is his nature, this is what we're in. Your forefathers, your grandma, they didn't get to experience this mess. We're sitting in this mess. When they were going to church, the pews were full. Come on now. When they were going to church, the pews were full, and they brought the kids in, and there wasn't no such thing as a nursery. You set your behind right in there with your children, and you told them to shut up. And if they didn't shut up, when you got up, they knew it. It's over. It's over. I'm just being real. These are things. So what are you saying? What are you saying? We need to bring them back. I keep telling folks, not all traditions are bad. Not all of them. Look what it did to you. Now look at your children that are out of control, that want to do what they want to do, because you decided, I can't spank them. I can't do this. Well, look what's going on now. The world is becoming worse. And God knew it we could become worse, because God gave us free will. But He's long-suffering. Watch this, I'm going to allow this to go on until I've had enough of it. But in the meantime, look what it's doing. The churches are emptying themselves. Who would ever thought you'd come in and find pews empty? Who would ever thought that? You couldn't have told your grandmother. You couldn't have told them, by the time I get there, you ain't going to be nobody in the pews. You couldn't have told nobody that. Stop and think about it. This is how serious this is. So now watch this, guys. That was one. I want you to see some more of them. I've got his suffering. I've got he was born in a stable. But now watch this, not just a stable, but he was born in the worst of conditions. I've given you proof behind my statements. I've got he was born to poor parents. Well, I'm telling you now, look at this. I've given you proof, Luke 2:24. Having his life threatened as a baby. Did somebody want to kill him? Okay. Watch this. Being the cause of unimaginable sorrow. Remember the the mothers were crying and the babies were no more. Remember that? Because they were killing them. Having to move and shift as a baby. He's got to go from place to place. He's got to hurry up and get out of Bethlehem. He's got to get to where in Nazareth. He's got to have his life saved because he is the Savior. Watch this. I've got having reared in a despicable place. How would you like living from place to place? Stable to stable or wherever. Your parents are poor. They can't get you what you want. So you live, and believe me, think about the dwellings then versus the dwellings now. Oh, Joseph the carpenter, is he out maybe trying to build a little tent for his family? Think about it. These are some things that we have to take under consideration. Having his father die during his youth. Remember, Joseph didn't live the whole time. Remember, he died. So as a child, to see your dad leave this world. Stop and think about it. Watch this. Having no home, not even a place to lay his head. I heard Jesus say that. He says the birds have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Watch this. Being hated and opposed by religionists. Stop and think about it. The Pharisees and the Sadducees who run the church couldn't stand it. That's enough to discourage somebody. That's enough to say, man, please, I don't need this. Stop and think about it. And he didn't even set up his own church. He could have went out and took the crowd with him, took everybody with him, and set up his own church. Stop and think about it. Remember, he had multitudes following him. He could have set up his own, but he never did it. Watch this. I says, being charged with insanity. They thought he was crazy, a madman. Stop and think about it. Watch this. Being charged with demon possessed. Remember, they accused him, and he had to tell them house divided. Cannot stand. Remember that? Okay. So watch this. Being opposed by his own family. Remember? His brothers told him, go to Jerusalem. They were making fun of him. He ain't no son of God. Come on. So they were mocking him. You know, you're supposed to know you're the son of God, so you're supposed to be able to know what's going to happen up there. Look at this craziness. Watch this. Being rejected and hated by listeners. Can you imagine? Let me flip. Being betrayed by a close friend. What you going to do with Judas? He was in your fold. He listened to you every day. And he had other motives. Isn't that something? Came that close, he even kissed the man. Wow.
What Peter did did not make him happy.
What's that?
I said, what Peter did didn't make him happy.
But he didn't betray him. We're talking about, this is his close friend.
He denied him.
Yes. And his denial was built on what?
Fear.
Yes, fear. Yeah. This guy wasn't built on no fear. This guy was built on how much I can profit.
Greed.
Yeah, greed. Okay. And watch this. Being left alone, rejected, and forsaken by all of his friends. How would you like that? Watch this. Being left alone. Who do you think when I speak of being left alone? Yes, Lord. Didn't he say it? My God. My God. Why have you forsaken me? If anything would be a lonely feeling, he knows his dad. He looks up to his dad and he knows he's not there anymore. That's deep.
Even in the human nature, I remember my dad passed away.
Okay.
You know how you go to the dad?
Yeah.
Ask things, you know, I do like this.
Oh, I agree.
I learned like this, I learned like that in my life.
Oh, I
It's
agree.
really, it's nothing compared if you lost your relationship to Jesus Christ, I know, but it's human nature when your earthly father is not.
Oh, no, I know. That's what I told him. I said, I'm with you. The same situation. How you look, mom's is already gone. I felt a little alone. Then when dad checks out, all of a sudden you realize, you don't have nobody to go to. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. Stop to think about it. Renee, both of her parents are around, but stop to think about it. Those days are coming when you really feel alone. I got watch this being tried before the high courts of the land on a charge of treason. You've been falsely accused. You should stand up and tell them that they're wrong, but you don't. Because you understand why you came. Watch this. Being executed by crucifixion. Guys, that's the worst possible death. Stop and think about it. To be put out there in front of the public as amongst the worst of criminals. Remember, two beside, one on one side and the other on the other. And what are you on this cross for? Because I told the truth. Stop and think about it. So I said this, so watch this. I've got to note that each of these experiences reached a depth of humiliation. Christ stooped to the lowest point of human experience in every condition in order to become the perfect sympathizer. See that? Your Bible says in 2 Corinthians 1:4, who comforts us in all our tribulations. How can that be? Oh, y'all need to hear me. How can that be? What he went through, and yet what he's doing for us. The pain and suffering, I told you, we can't even fathom the pain and suffering that Christ went through. We can't come close. And he did it for us. And then like I said, when we look into the churches and see pews empty. Wow. Don't you understand now why the Father, when
when this comes to an end, why the Father says to the Son, you're going to judge. But watch this. And your judgment is going to be righteous judgment. And watch this. I have, meaning the Father, say so in this one. Because, son, nobody's getting off the hook. Every knee is going to bow. Nobody's getting off the hook. And anybody that disgrace my son, oh, you don't, as a father, as a father, there are certain things you just ain't going to do to my kids.
All right.
And then we stand there and just watch it. That ain't going to happen. See what I'm saying? So as a father, here's your father that this has taken its course. Let me try this and let me get right back where so you understand coming. Ever has somebody done you wrong and you want to get back at them?
Mm-hmm.
But you've heard this statement, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And so you say, well then what I got to do is let this go, and what I got to do is pray and ask God to have mercy. Let me explain something to you. In Genesis 5, when Cain slew Abel, what was Abel's blood crying out? Remember? It sure was. Remember? God said to Cain that Abel's blood is crying out to me. Where is your brother? That crying out is vengeance. I want vengeance. Your Revelation 7 says, Lord, how long shall we wait? He says, but a little while longer. Vengeance. So what I'm saying is don't remove. When someone has done you wrong, quit trying to act like you're holier than holy. When someone's done you wrong, yes, you're going to have those thoughts. Yes, that's going to surface. Yes, you want vengeance. But God is saying, but stay away because you don't get it. I did see it. But just like I'm having long suffering for you, I'm having long suffering for them. I'm going to give them a chance to turn this around because you're wrong. But there will come a day when it won't be no more chances. When now you're going to have to answer. I made this statement, and I've said this so many times to so many people, one just recently. If you don't forgive, you can't enter into the kingdom of heaven. All right. I said, and watch this. And God knows that is hard for us. But I heard Jesus say, forgive them. For they know not what they do. Stop and think about it. Jesus says, I am the example. You've got to forgive. But if you forgive, then you can go on through life serving me. Or hear me? You say, yeah? No, you don't get it. If you don't forgive, that animosity will always be in your heart. You can't function, you can't perform like God wants you to perform. You can't do it. So you have to set aside. You really have to let it go. You really do. But watch this. But I didn't say, so I gotta let it go. And I don't ever want nothing to happen to them. That's not being realistic. That's what I'm saying. Be realistic. Yes, God, I want you to avenge me. I want you to go after those that hurt me. But watch this. But Lord, I also want you to have mercy on them as you've had mercy on me. So God is saying if you stay out of the business, nobody walks. Nobody walks. I don't care who's done you wrong in the first grade.
Nobody walks. You know what I'm saying? I was calling myself going back. But that day is coming. Their day is coming. And I really believe God reminds us. He constantly reminds us to turn away from your sins and to live right. So then watch this. Doesn't that make sense with 4? When he says comfort, right? Who comforts us in all our tribulations. Guys, in all our tribulations. You need to hear me. That's in everything, good or bad. In all our tribulations. Somebody's done you wrong. God can comfort you. Just keep your head up. Something too that people, one thing about it, I can only speak for me. Even if you've done me wrong, I still will contact you. You okay? I want you to know I miss you. He said, that don't make sense. It does when you learn to develop a forgiving heart. It really does. If your heart is hard, then you'll keep going the other way. But if your heart is, I don't care how wrong you've done me, ask me for something. And I'm going to turn around and give it to you. Somebody said, that's crazy. No, that's godly. That's what that is. Because God will take care of you in the end. God is going to take care of them. And don't you worry about it. He's going to get them. And I believe he will remind them. So then watch this. He says that we may be able to comfort those who are in any. Y'all see it? The word is any. The word is any. He says, I've comforted you in all your tribulations, so that you may what? Comfort others. Holding grudges will not get it. This is what he's saying. Learn how to comfort one another. I've said, and I've been talking, I've shared some with Lenny too. I've been talking, trying to figure out what is the solution with Westchester. What needs to take place for her to start to grow? She needs to stop holding on to what somebody did in 1910. She needs to now move forward. Love one another. Sure, I don't like it when you come late. Don't mean I don't love you. Just means I don't like the ways that you produce. Hoping that you will come to your senses and see that your ways aren't acceptable to God. That's all. And my job is to just scream out to you to tell you, you need to stop it. It really needs to come to an end. Why? Because you're going to have to answer to God. God is not a God that is not on time. All right? I can't say it enough, okay? He is a God of order. That's what he is. He's a God of order. And if we're to be God-like, then we're to be we're to be children of order. You say, wait a minute, so my wife said something to me this morning. I says, yeah, I'm not feeling the best. I says, and I'm running really late. And she says, you'll still get there an hour before anyone else gets there. Did you hear? She said, you'll still get there an hour before anyone else. And sure enough, nobody was here, right, John?
That's right. I was late.
Yeah. No, but John's as late as by 7:45. He's considered late.
Yeah, definitely.
That's right. That's what I told you. But I'm trying to tell you, when you become when you understand your God is a God of order, then you will make what is a priority in your life the same as God has made. And God has made, watch this, and God has made salvation for you, me. So God has been thinking about us. See that? So we need to start thinking like that. Watch this. He says, watch this, in any trouble, right, with the comfort
with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. I told you, when you let go, then you will feel the presence of God in your life.
Amen.
When you don't, then you'll always struggle. You'll always have this something about you. It's just something, people won't admit it, and they finally admitted it on some news or something. Depression comes upon everybody. It hits everybody. Everybody goes into a depression stage in life. Everybody. How you handle it is the issue. Do I come out of it? Or do I want to wallow in it? Do I want to stay in it? Do I want somebody to feel sorry for me? What do I do with this depression? Well, if you are so depressed, then how can you help someone else? Especially as a Christian, because he told you as what? Look at your last part of 4. Because he told you what? We ourselves are what? Comforted
By God.
by God. So if we remain head down, depressed, every time you talk about it, it's something depressing. Don't you understand? What you're saying is God can't comfort you. And God is trying to tell you, I can comfort you. I saw it. I saw every bit of what that person did to you. I saw it. But you keep moving forward. But I need to get vengeance. That's not yours. That belongs to me. Remember, they're not your children. Everything in here is mine. They're all my children. I will take care of them. That's you as a sibling going to go spank another sibling. You see what I'm saying? Stop and think about it. Daddy will take care of it. He'll get them. Yes.
I think the real issue, and I can talk about myself, is we don't allow God to take it. And we worry about things prior to going to this depressed state. Things, number one, we worry about things that don't even happen. We perceive it. And most things we worry about are unnecessary.
I agree.
We lead ourselves into this hole. And then we don't allow God
Right.
in it. We don't go to Him.
I agree.
He's there. But if it's a free will issue all the time, you have to go to Him.
Somebody made a molehill into a mountain. Heard that?
Yeah.
Something small that if you had blew it, it went away. But you kept picking at it, and now the sword is humongous. Now it needs help.
That's the focus.
Right. And so that's my point. This is what we do. Stop picking at it, and we keep moving. Keep moving. We can't stop. We just got to keep moving. I would love to see the church with tons of people. But did you know what comes with tons of people?
I said responsibility.
Yeah, but that's the truth.
That's probably better.
But that's the truth. Problems come with problems. They came into the church. Watch this. Because they had problems. Watch this. Whether I think I can do a better job than him, that's a problem. But you didn't say because you didn't come in with the right motive. Or I think I can sing, that's a problem. Why? Because you didn't come into the church empty. You didn't come in needing a physician. You came in telling the physician,
What's the problem? How to fix it?
okay, that's what you did. And so these problems come into the church. And then, watch this, or what you say, diagnose, but it's true. Let me tell you, I got a cold, let me tell you, I took Excedrins, and I took NyQuil, and so doc, so then I know this is what it is. I'm sick, I got a cold. I went to, when I was going on Renee's insurance, I had to go to her healthcare partner. And it was something, remember Renee, I had something, back. Something was bothering me. But anyway, I went in and I told the doctor what it was. When he came back, he says, yeah, this is what your problem is. I was so upset with the statement he made. So I guess his boss must have been there, supervisor or whatever, must have been there. So when I was walking past, the doctor was behind me. We was going into his office, and his boss says, let me ask you something. You gonna be all right? I says, how am I supposed to be all right when I didn't told him what the problem was, and he come back and tell me the same thing? He said, can we talk? I didn't know that was his boss, right? But he says, can we talk? He says, so what did you tell him? I told him. He says, and what did he tell? The same thing I told him. He says, okay, we're sorry to have, that's why I like going to, Renee gets on me all the time. That's why I like going to doctors. Because don't tell me, I already know what this is. Just tell me give me the solution on healing it. I'm looking at the symptoms, give me the solution. But when I got done, you know what he did? He put the $40 back in my pocket and called the doctor into the room. He sure did. He says, by the way, sir, we're going to call you again and have someone to talk to you. In the meantime, I'll just say, Dr. X, when you get a chance, when you get a chance, can you come into the office? In the meantime, though, you need to follow that young man out to the front and let them know. Give him back his $40. Did you hear me? Give him back his $40. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. If you really stop and think about it, you go to a car, you know cars. You go to the mechanic and he tells you exactly what it was. I know that. And then he gives you a blown out price for fixing it. No, thank you. I'll just drive it on back. What do you want? You're looking for solutions. I already know that this is it. Now give me a solution. He says, and I will. Did you hear me? He says, and I will give you a solution. Here's a solution. You didn't even see it. He says he's the comforter of all, right? Mm-hmm. Watch this, and you're forward. Watch this. Then he says, and then you are to comfort others, right? Mm-hmm. And then he says in the last, he says what?
As you have been comforted by the comfort of God.
Did you see it? He gave you a solution. He gave you your problem, your solution. He gave it all to you. Right there. He says, why? Because, first of all, let me let you know, been there, done that. This is what Christ is saying. Been through whatever you're going through, been there, done that. But I'm here to comfort you. That's the solution. You didn't even catch it. And comfort others. What? You need to, watch this. I'm here to comfort you, comforting in God. I'm here to comfort you. I'm here to take you through this. I'm here to help you. But what I want you to do is you take care of you. What do you mean take care of you? By taking care of others. You focus in on helping others. I got you. I got you. You don't have to worry about it. I got you. I'm going to make sure you're okay. So you go take care of others. That's all in for, guys. Stop and think about it. Look what Christ is doing to us. But when we take it, so as I told you, a lot of us have fell asleep. We have pulled the 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. We have fallen asleep. We're too sin. So where is he? Where is God? Why is all these things going on? Where is he? He says, and I'm giving you the solution. I'm long suffering. That ain't no solution. Yes, it is, because if you want me to take care of that wrong that's in the world, I have to kill you too. You didn't catch it. I have to take you out too. Because you just as bad. Sure, you didn't do what that other person did to you, but you're still a sinner. So I'd have to kill you too. If I'm gonna do it right, then I have to take you out. Yes, I can't show no partiality.
that's why I think about it when things happen. I says, ooh, God have mercy. Because why? Because you're right. If I really stop looking at what someone else has done to me and start looking at what I've done to God, and I back off. I really back off. Because what I'm asking God to do is now have mercy on me. But you take care of that other, but have mercy. But you take care of that other one. But you have mercy on me. Why should he have mercy on me? When you won't have mercy on others. So have mercy on others. Move in the right direction. I told you Christianity is a very hard walk. But it's only a hard walk because we've lived so long, so wrong. That's the only reason why it's a hard walk. If we were living right, then we could see this stuff. And we move on. But we've been living wrong for so long that it doesn't make sense. So we use our logic to try to fix it when there's no logic to this. Trust in God. That's what it comes down to. Us learning to trust in God. Guys, are there any statements that need to be made?